Hello, welcome to Flash Learners. I am Flash Isaac, and today I'll be taking you through these 12 numerical test questions sent to me by my law friend Antonia. Numerical test questions are very popular in law exams, scholarships, interview, and so many more. For that reason, I'll be solving these 12 questions, not just to give you the answers, but to explain everything you need to know and what to do anytime you come across questions like this. For the first question, we are given this data. It says cumulative car sales 1,000. Cumulative car sales. What is cumulative? Cumulative simply means the amount so far, not the amount now, the amount so far. It means it grows so far. How far? If I ask you how far, it means you have been coming. You've passed through life or stages of life. So how far? You'll be like, we thank God, so far, so good. Meaning, so far you've been coming, so good. We thank God, although you hope for a better result. That is cumulative. And how does it, or how does that statement affect this graph? Now, this amount here, it doesn't represent what was made in April. It means so far, from the beginning till March, till April, this is how much we have gathered or how much we have sold, if you are being specific. Now, if this is the sales for May, it doesn't mean that was the amount sold in that May. It means from the time we started tracking till March, which we want you to know about, to April to May, this is how much we have sold. That is what cumulative is about. Since they are in thousands, it means each of these values represents 1,000. This means this is 2,000, this is 4,000, this is 6,000, this is 8,000, this is 10,000, this is 12,000, this is 14,000, 16,000, 18,000, 20,000, 22,000, and 24,000. That is what this represents. So far, we've been able to interpret 2 or 3 things. Cumulative means so far it continues, and the scale is in thousands. 2,000, this represents 4,000, up to 24,000. Look at something else you should know about. The symbols used in this passage, or the scale used, or the notations used. If you look at this, it is in red. So they are trying to tell us that this red, the values for this red represent Tymko cars. Tymko cars. Now, you see this is green. So all the values you are seeing for green represent 60 cars, or the best pronunciation you can have for that word. And you see this black here represents Bernd cars, or what you prefer to call it. While the blue represents Fry cars. Now, in the diagram or the original question, they didn't use black. Look at the color notations they use. For Tymko car, they use red. For 60 car, they use blue. And for Bernd card, they use yellow. Since I don't have yellow marker, I decided to use black for Bernd cars. What else should you know about this? If you look at this value, it corresponds to 2,000 cars sold. How about this? Now, when you are given a graph, anyone outside the line, it means this value represents something around here. This means if this is 2000 and this is 4000, it means the middle here is 1000. So this will be 2000, 3000, 4000. So if from here to here is another 1000, that means any value that is here will simply be 3000, which means here is 3, 2000, 3000, 4000, 5000, 6000, 7000, 8000, 9000, 10,000, 11,000, 12,000, 13,000. That being said, let us go through the question. I will use the questions to explain more. The first question says, how many Bernd cars were sold in May? How many Bernd cars were sold in May? Now, look at something else. They say March, month end. This means here is at the end of the month, at the March ending. These were the cars sold. Now, from here, April has begun. So April till April ending. So the sales from here to here represents April. From beginning of April till end of April. Now, here I represent month end. So this is ending of April. So sales starting from here represents beginning of May till end of May. Now for May sales ends here. This means June starts from here till here. June month end. Then June ends here. That means from here July begins and here is the end of July. That is what that graph, that is what it represents. June end, month end, July month end. Now, how many Bernd cars were sold in May? Now, when we talk about Bernd car, we are talking about black, according to this graph. Now, in questions, they can give you any color. What they just need you to do is to know that this color represents this color represents that. So don't be carried away by the color, which is more beautiful or which is the most beautiful among all of them. That's not the problem. So this could have been gold, any color. So now, Bernd car represents this guy black in this case. And in the original question, Bernd cars are yellow in the original question. May. Now look at this. This is Bernd car and this is male. At the end of May, the total Bernd cars sold equals 10,000. I didn't say the cars sold in May. I said at the end of May, which means from the beginning of tracking till May, cars sold were 10,000 cars. So from when they started March, April till May, they were able to sell 10,000 cars. That is cumulative car sales. This question is asking us how many cars were sold in May, just May. We are not saying from the beginning of the year till May. If from the beginning of the year you made 10,000 naira and we are in May and I ask you, how much did you make in May? If you tell me 10,000 naira, you are wrong because you made 10,000 naira from January to May, which means in May, the amount you made in May is how much you have so far, which is 10,000 naira, minus how much you had from January to April. So if you subtract the amount you made from January to April from your total amount or the amount you have as at now, it will give you amount you made only May. Only May. Now looking at this record, from the beginning of tracking till April, they made 9,000 naira. Like I told you, this middle is 9,000 naira. So at the end of April, 9,000 naira was made. From the beginning of record till the end of April, 9,000 naira was made. And I told you, here means April ending. This means starting from here to here is May. And this is May ending. This means if from the beginning of tracking 9,000 naira was made, and between end of April to end of May, everything sums up to 10,000, the amount that was made in May alone will simply be 10,000 minus 9,000. This will be equals 1,000. So that is the amount made in May. And that makes option B correct. So don't rush and say 10,000 because you just calculated and saw 10,000 here. No. This is a cumulative graph. Everything is continuing. Question 2 says, what were the total sales of Tymko cars for May, June, and July combined? Which means how much or how many cars did they sell in May? How many did they sell in June? And how many did they sell in July? Add everything together. Look at this. Tymko car, meaning we are dealing with this red guy. Red. So this is our guide. How much did they make in May? And like I explained earlier, this is May. This means at the end of May, the total amount they made equals 18,000 naira. This amount is not the amount they made in May, or it's not the amount of sales, or it's not the total sales made in May. It is simply the sales from the beginning of tracking, or from the beginning of keeping records of the number of sales. So if we assume the business began in March, this means from March to May, 18,000 sales were made. They were able to sell 18,000 cars. Now, at the end of March, they sold 14,000 cars, Tymko cars. At the end of April, they sold 15,000 Tymko cars. This means between March ending and April ending, they made 15 minus 14. That is 1,000 sales of cars. Now, between April ending and May ending is simply the month of May, because April ends here and May begins from here. So everything that is sold here represents May sales. 18,000 at the end of May, 15,000 at the end of April. This means in May, 18K minus 15K cars were sold, and that is 3K cars were sold. Now, this is June. Remember, May ends here, and the sales here represents June. At the end of June, the company had 20,000 sales. And these 20,000 sales represent sales from the beginning of the business, or we can say from March to the end of June. This shows that only June amount made is from here to here. That is 20,000 naira minus 18,000 sales. So don't mind me saying naira. I like money. So 20,000 cars minus 18,000 cars will simply give you 2,000 cars. This means 2,000 cars were sold in June. Now, remember, June month end. June ends here. From here to here represents July. And between ending of June and ending of July, they made, this is 21 and this is 22. So they made 21K. This implies that total amount Tymko car made, their full money, everything is 21,000 cars. The number of cars sold rather. So in the full business, from the beginning of tracking to the end of tracking, they made 21,000 sales. 21,000 sales. Now, like I said, let this be July. If at the end of July, you have 25,000 sales, the amount you made in only that July is simply the amount you made from the beginning of tracking till the end of June. If you subtract them, that will be amount you made in July. So amount made in only July is simply 21k sales minus 20k sales, which was arrived at the end of June. This will give you 1k. So Tymko car sold 1,000 cars in April, 3,000 cars in May, 2,000 cars in June, and 1,000 cars in July. And the question says, what were the total sales of Tymko cars for May, June, and July combined? This means we start from May. May 3k plus June 2k plus July 1k. This is equal 6k. So they sold 6,000 cars combined May, June, and July. A says 21,000, B says 16,000, C says 22,000, and D says 6,000. Option D is correct. If you say 21,000, you are wrong because 21,000 is the number of cars sold from the beginning to the end of tracking, total number. If they had asked us, green represents 60 cars, that how much did 60 cars sell or make between May, June, and July, everything combined, it will simply be, in May, this is 9,000 and this is 11,000. So this means in May, they made 11k minus 9k. Question number 3 says, if the number of Bernd cars sold in July had been equal to the number of Bernd cars sold in June, how many more Bernd cars would have been sold during July? They said, assuming the number of cars sold by Bernd car in July is the same as the number of Bernd car sold in June, this means what is the total number of cars they would have sold in July? Before we look at that, let us check the number of cars they sold in June. In our earlier solving, we arrived at in June, Bernd car sold 1k units, which is 11,000 at the end of June minus 10,000 at the end of May. So that is the amount they sold in June, which is 1,000 cars. So cars sold in June is equals 1,000 cars. Now let's see how many they sold in July. This is June. At the end of June, they had 11,000 sales, like from the beginning of tracking. Now, at the end of July, the number still remains the same, 11,000. This means they did not sell anything in July. The amount remained what they sold in June. Did they close business? What happened? We don't know. So, amount sold in July is equals 0 cars. And the question says, if they sold the same amount they sold in June, how many more would they have sold in July? It will remain 1,000 because they didn't sell anything in July. So the question again, if the number of Bernd cars sold in July had been equal to the number of Bernd cars sold in June, how many more Bernd cars would have been sold during July? How many more cars sold in July would have also been 1,000 minus 0. So if you say 1,000 minus 0 or plus 0, it doesn't really count. So 1,000 is the correct option. So that is the answer. What this simply means that any value that you see, they are in thousands, add 0. For example, the first city there, you can see that it is London. London, and you can see 7,500. This means the population there at the start of the year is 7,500. Thousand means addition of 3 zeros. This means that is 7.5 million. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 million. 7,500,000. That is the population of London. And the next city there, you can see that it is Birmingham, 995. This means the total population there is in thousand, 995,000. That is the interpretation of the thousand at the start of the year. You also see deaths per 1,000 population. They are all from January to December. Births per 1,000 and deaths per 1,000. Look at what it means by per 1,000. Per 1,000 simply means divided by 1,000. So if you are talking about births for London, for example, per 1,000, it simply means over 1,000. 7,500,000. That is what it means by per 1,000. And to divide this type of thing, you don't need to punch your calculator. 3 zeros here, cancel 3 zeros here. So you are left with this. Live birth for per 1,000 is 11.2. That is the live birth in London. Now, if you are converting it to the total actual birth, not per 1,000, to the total number of births, it is simply gotten by multiply this by this. No need to add the 1,000 since it's already per 1,000. That's divided by 1,000. If you multiply this, we will get the births in London. So if you are asked what was the live births in London, it is simply 11.2 times 7,500, and that would simply give you 84,000. That is the live births. And let's see for Birmingham. For Birmingham, the births per 1,000 or live birth per 1,000, 13.6, we multiply it by 995 to give you 13,532. And something else in that table is the percentage of the population above certain age. Percentage population under 15 at the start of the year. You can see that for London, it is 16%. And 16% simply means 16 over 100. If in a class we have 100 students, and they tell you that 10% of the students offer English, 10% of the students is simply like 10% of students. And this is the same thing as 10 over 100, because that is what percentage is about in the first place. 10 over 100 of students. And in mathematics or in board maths, of represents multiplication. This means 10% of is 10% times, and the number of students is 100. So times 100. So this will simply be, when you are doing this type of multiplication, so long there is times and you have zeros at the top and zeros at the bottom, just count any amount of zero that can cancel. We have 2 zeros here. If we cancel these 2 zeros, so we are left with 10. Question 4 says, in Liverpool, what was the net effect of live birth and death rates on the population during 2000? The net effect simply means that we calculate the live births, we get the two answers, and we subtract. That is what net means. Net what? Your amount after you've removed your debts and expenses, what is remaining. So the net effect of live births and live deaths is simply we calculate live birth, the number, we calculate the death, and we get the net effect of those numbers. Now looking at the city in question, Liverpool. In Liverpool, population is 500,000. Live births per 1,000 is 13.4. Live birth is 13.4 and live deaths per 1,000 is 13.0. 500,000. Live births 13.4 per 1,000. Live deaths 12.4 per 1,000. This means we calculate the live births, we calculate the live deaths and subtract them like I said earlier. So since this is per 1,000, it already removes this 30. This means live births is equals 500 times 13.4. Live deaths is equals 500 times 12.4, since death is equals 12.4. This will give you 6,700 and this will give you 6,200. Now their net effect is simply this minus this. That will give you 6,700 minus 6,200. That's equals 500. That is the net effect. So let's check out the options. Option A says 200 increase. Option B says 600 increase. Option C says 500 increase. And option D says 300 increase. The correct option is C, 500 increase. Now, question 5. It says, how many live births occurred in Birmingham and Glasgow combined? How many live births? In Birmingham, the live birth is 13.6 per 1,000, and in Glasgow, it is 13.8 per 1,000. Now, how many population do we have in Birmingham and how many do we have in Glasgow? In Birmingham, we have 995, and in Glasgow, we have 600. Now, since these are the live births per 1,000, meaning divided by 1,000, this goes. So the actual birth here is 13.6 times 995, and the actual one here is 13.8 times 600. This is 13,532, and this is 8,280. So adding them, since the question says, how many births combined in Birmingham and Glasgow? For Birmingham, they were 995 times 13.6, which is 13,532. In Glasgow, 600 times 13.8, 8,280. In total, 13,532 plus 8,280 will give you 21,812. And that is option A. Option A is correct. If you understand this, how about we go to the next question? Question 6 says, which of the cities had the lowest population of people under 15? From the table, percentage population under 15 at the start here, in London it is 16%. In Birmingham it is 18%. In Glasgow it is 21%. In Liverpool it is 22%. And in Leeds it is 23%. In the option, they are asking us to choose between Birmingham, Glasgow, Liverpool, and Leeds. This means we are not counting for London, but I will show you how to solve for London. Now, remember the illustration I made earlier. I said, if in a class of 100 people, 10% are boys or 10% pass mathematics, the number of students who pass mathematics is equals 10 over 100 times 100. So percentage means over 100. These values for population under 15 are in percentage. To look for the actual population of people in Birmingham under 18, it is simply 18, or okay, let's say 18% of population. 18% of the population in Birmingham are under 15. We can reinterpret this as 18 over 100 of the population are under 15. And remember, 18% means 18 over 100, and in mathematics, of is multiplication, BODMAS, bracket, of, or order. This means 18 over 100 times the population equals under 15. This is less than, like this towards you is less than. This side is greater than, less than. If 18% of the population are less than 15, first of all, what is the population? In Birmingham, the population is 995. And remember, it is in thousand. This means the population in Birmingham is 995,000, which means 18% of 995,000 equals under 15. And anytime you see many zeros in calculation, you don't need to panic. You can either choose to just cancel them out or to ignore them during the multiplication and add them later. It shouldn't bother you. Besides, some of the exams allow calculator, so you'll be able to multiply so long you know what you are doing. But it is easier to answer these things without calculator, especially cancelling of zero. These two zeros, would cancel 2 here. We are left with 18 times 9950. So 18 times 9950 equals the population of Birmingham that are under 15. How about for Glasgow? For Glasgow, 21% of the population are under 15 years, which means for Glasgow, 21 over 100 times 600,000. 600,000 are under 15. And since this is multiplication, you can only do this cancellation when it is multiplication. If it is addition, let's say 20 like this, plus 600,000. You can't cancel, you can only cancel up and down when it is multiplication. If it is addition, what you simply do is, this is the same thing as over 1. Then you look for the LCM. The LCM of 101 is 100 times 1, that is 100. So here will simply be 100. Then you say this 100 divided by this 100, 1. 1 times 21, 21. Plus 100 divided by this one is 100. That 100 times 600,000, we add 2 more zeros. So 600, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. So you add the top and divide by 100. And after adding, you still have many zeros. Just cancel the number of zeros there, cancel 100. You get the answer. This is the same thing as 21 times 6, 1, 2, 3 equals. This is the total population that is under 15 in Glasgow. Now, how do we solve this? You will say, what if there's no calculator or my brain is not that sharp? Multiplication is simple. You just say 6,021. You use this one to multiply everything. That is, if there is no calculator. 1 times 0 is 0. 1 times 1 is 0. 1 times 0 is 0. 1 times 0 is 0. 1 times 0 is 0. 1 times 6 is 6. Then the next thing, we are using 2 to multiply everything. Since it is the turn of 2, we start multiplying from here. We start putting answer from here down. So 2 times 0 is 0. 2 times 0 is 0. 2 times 0 is 0. 2 times 6, 12. So we have 1, 2, 6, 0, 0, 0. So 1, 2, 6, 0, 0, 0. That is the population of those in Glasgow that are under 15 years. Similarly, and for Leeds, 23% of 450,000. So 2 zeros cancel 2 zeros. We are left with 23 times 4,500. Looking at all the values, Leeds has the lowest population under 15 years of age. So option D is the correct option. In question 7, we are given a table of money spent on transportation. And the money spent is in billion dollar. So one thing we shouldn't waste our time on in this type of question is the zeros. When we are adding values or multiplying, leave the zeros behind. I don't like wahala. So it won't make any changes since you will see the exact values you want. Don't add the zeros. The last one, I added the zeros because they are in thousands, which is still fair when it comes to calculation. But billion means thousand, million, billion. So it will mess up the calculation. Now, analyzing the table, we have that in 2006, UK spent 32 billion on transportation. And question number 7 is asking, which of the following countries shown experienced the largest percentage increase in public transportation from 2007 to 2008? Increase, percentage increase. What is percentage increase? Percentage increase or change is simply change over normal times 100. That is percentage increase. Change over normal or change over how it was. In 2008, UK, for example, had spent $38 billion on transportation. And in 2007, they spent $35 billion on transportation. This means from 35 to 38. From $35 billion to $38 billion. The percentage increase will simply be the change, which is 38 minus 35. That is the change over the normal price or how it was before. The normal is 35 times 100. 3 over 35 times 100. This is the percentage change. Similarly, for US, we are spending 128 billion per year. In 2008, they upgraded to 136 billion. So 128 to 136 billion. The percentage change or the increase is simply the change. The change is 136 minus 128 over how much was it? 128 times 100. Like I said, but let's ignore the zero because it will make no change to the answer. What is bigger will be bigger, and what is smaller will always be smaller. Now, 128, 129, 130, 131, 132, 133, 134, 135, 136. That's 8. So the change is 8 over 128 times 100 equals, we'll find that out. Now look at the next country. Germany moved from 44 to 46. The increase will simply be the change. You move from 44 to 46, which means the change is made is equals 46 minus 44 all over the initial one, 44 times 100. And for the last country on the list, Italy, from 26 to 28. So Italy from 26 to 28 billion. So the change is equals 28 minus 26 over the normal price or the normal spending or how it was, which is 26 times 100. So all these are the formula for percentage increase. For these guys, it equals 40. This is 2. The change here is 2. 46 minus 44. This is 2 over 44 times 100. This is 26, 27, 26, 27, 2. 2 over 26 times 100. This is the formula for calculating the percentage change. Now this guy is the same thing as 3 times 100 is 300. 300 divided by 35 is around 8.751 or so. That is the percentage change for UK, 0.69%. So now let's read the question again. The question simply says, which of the countries shown experienced the largest percentage increase in public spending from 2007 to 2008? And the largest increase is which country? UK had over 8% increase, over 6%, over 4%, and over 7%. This means UK had the largest percentage increase, and option A is correct. Question 8 says, which of the countries shown had the highest public transport per capita in 2008? Highest public transport per capita. What this is trying to say is that if you divide the transport or the public transport by the population, which of these countries will give you the highest one? So we divide each of these population, dealing with 2008, we divide it of the amount on transport by the population, which means for UK, we simply have 38 divided by 60,100,000. And now take a look at this. Remember, the transportation is in billion. The population is in million. In this case, we may choose to introduce the zeros, but we may also not choose to introduce. Introducing it this time will not really disturb our population. Since they say we should look for the country which had the highest public transport per capita in 2008. So let's bring this out. In 2008, UK had $38 billion. They spent that on transportation, and their population is 60,100,123. If this is the population and we are looking for the amount they spent per population, it will simply be 38, 123, 123, 123. You know why I brought out the zeros? It will not be hard to solve. 38 billion divided by 60,100,000. Now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 zeros. We swallow 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We swallow these 5 zeros. Now, we are left with 38, 1, 2, 3 divided by 601. Now, for US, they spent 136 billion. And the population is 302,500,000. So 302,500,000. And the population is 136 billion. So 136, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So this is thousand, million, and billion. So automatically, 5 zeros, we swallow 1, 2, 3. We swallow 5 zeros. So we are left with 136,000,000 all over 3025. And for Germany, 84,300,000. And the population is 46 billion. So 46, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. 5 0 swallows 5 0 here. We are left with here. And let's look at the last country there, Italy. They have 58,700,000. 58,700,000. And the population is 28 billion. Remember, we are dealing with 2008. So in 2008, they had 28 billion. So 5 zeros swallows 5 zeros here. So we are left with this. Italy is not even in the option. Let's look at this. Which is bigger? This. This guy is obviously bigger. So the country which had the highest public transport spend per capita is UK. So let's look at the next question. It says, in 2007, Italy had a target to spend 8% more on transport than they did. So by how much were they short of this target? In 2006, Italy spends 25 billion on transport. Now, the question says they plan to spend 8% more, which means they plan to spend 8%, 8 over 100 of 25 billion plus 25 billion. 8% more means we look for 8% of 25 billion, we add it to the 25 billion which they've already spent. Now, 8% of 25 is 8 times 25 over 100. And that is 200 divided by 100. That's 2. So, 2. 8% of 25 billion is 2 billion. Now, they spend 25 billion, which means 2% more will be 25 billion that they spend plus 2, 27 billion. So, anytime we say percent more, it means look for the percentage and add to the current value. 8% of 25 billion is 2 billion. Now, they say 8% more, which means 25 billion plus 8% of 25 billion. That's 2 plus 25 equals 27 billion. Now, if they had spent 8% more, this means that they will spend 27 billion. But how much did they actually spend? In 2017, they actually spent 26 billion. You see, they targeted to spend 27 billion the next year, which is 8% increase. But they could only spend 26 billion. This means there is 1 billion short of target. That is what the question is asking. So the answer is, the difference is 1 billion. You plan to spend 8% increase, but now you're able to spend only 26 billion. And 8% increase is 27 billion, which means 27 minus 26 billion is 1 billion. So 1 billion short of the target. Now look at the question. In 2007, Italy had a target to spend 8% more on public transport than they did in 2006. So by how much were they short of this target? The answer is $1 billion. Remember, they are all in billion. The answer is $1 billion. Now, take a look at question 10. It shows internet sales data for newsbag.com. And according to the table, we have websites. Visitors came from website W, website S, website Y, and website Z. Website W, website S, and website Y, website Z. Now, what is question 10 saying we should do? It says, visitors arriving from which website were most likely to make a purchase at Newsbag? What this is trying to tell you is that percentage of those coming from website W made a purchase. Certain percent of those coming from website S made purchases. Certain percent of those coming from website Y made purchase. And certain percentage of those from Z made purchase. So which of the website has the highest percentage of people making purchase? To do this, we simply calculate the percentage of visitors buying and that came from W that bought, percentage of those visiting from website S that bought. To do that, for W, percentage of those buying is simply those who bought 2876 over everybody who visited 315380 times 100%. This is how you calculate percentage. And from website S, percentage of those who bought are 284, those who actually bought, over the total number times 100%. That's the percentage of those visiting from website S who made purchase. Similarly, for Y, it will be 183 over 82520 times 10%. For Z, 204 So we simply calculate this thing and see which has the highest percent. From website W, 0.9% of visitors made purchase. From website S, 0.7% made purchase. Y, 0.2 blah 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 percent. And from Z, 1.6 blah 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 percent made purchase. From this, it is very clear that the website with the highest purchase, or website from which people are likely to make more purchase, is website Z. So look at question 10 again. It says, visitors arriving from which website were most likely to make a purchase at newsbar.com? The answer is website D, because they have higher percentage of people who are willing to buy. Now, question 11. It says, if the average profit made per se at Newsbag is £12, approximately how much more profit was made from website S than visitors from website Y? How much more were made from website S than website Y? And the profit per bag is £12. You can do this in two ways. You calculate the profit made from website S, or the amount made from website S. It will simply be 284 times £12, since £1 per sale. Then you calculate the amount made from website Y, which is simply 183 times £12, since it is £12 per sale. You will get the answer. Or you can simply say 284 minus 183, which means the difference in sales from S and Y times how much per se. That will give you the same answer. Or you can look at the question again. It says, if the average profit made per se at newbags.com was £12, approximately how much more profit was made from visitors S, than visitors. Why? So we are looking for how much more. So how much more will simply be subtracting how much was made from each of them to give you 101, which is the difference, times price per unit. That should be 1,212 pounds. If the total number of visitors coming to new bag.coms are either from W, S, Y, and Z, this means that the percentage of those visiting from website Y will simply be number of those visiting from website Y over the total number of those from 4 others, everything. So only this over everything added together times 100. That is the percentage. This would give you 82,520 divided by 437,380, which is the total, times 100, and that is 18.87%. 18.87%. Option B is correct because 18.87% is approximately 18.9% or approximately 19%. So that is it. We've been able to answer question 1 to 12. I am Isaac and this is Flash Learners. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel and feel free to share this with friends. Thank you.